Now all these people have come here, do you know why? You have a problem. And the problem is, you are being schooled to believe that for every ill there is a pill. Right? Now if you read my article in the British Medical Journal, which can be got free on the internet, called "There is no pill for every ill, but there is an ill following every pill." Did you get that? So don't be very enthusiastic in taking a tablet. A little while ago, I was lecturing at the Hinduja hospital. And their highest person, Sri Chand's daughter, was in the audience. So she came and said, "Doctor, you see, when you have a fever, that crocin gives you so much of relief. You say, do you think that we should not take crocin?" I told her, "It's a very good thing, lady, because you are schooled to believe that there's a quick fix or anything." Now, fever is not your enemy. Fever is your friend. Fever becomes your enemy because you view fever as your enemy. You want to kill the enemy. Any enemy you want to kill, right? No. You use the body in Jesus Christ's terminology. Love thy enemy. You love fever. Nadkardi Sahab or Kekri Sahab or Pai Madam will tell you, there was a time when we were students, we were producing fever to treat syphilis. Syphilis was a dreaded disease then. It was killing people. And it was like today's, whatever you want to call it, big diseases. We used to call it as syphilis and gonorrhea, were the Surgeon General of the whole thing. And what we used to do as student, boil milk from the milk vendor in the skin department and take it in a syringe and inject it to patients with neurosyphilis. Within about 5 minutes, that fellow will shiver, every muscle will shiver, and his temperature will go to about 106. And then it will come down. And it treats this. So fever is a friend, and it is there because the body wants your temperature to go up to help it to fight. Nothing is done in this world without reason. But our reductionist reason, there is a cause for everything, cause-effect thing, is the biggest hoax and biggest false thing that we are made to believe, that for fever there is a cause. This is very simple thinking, because our forefathers used to think, when you get smallpox, it's the wrath of the goddess. If you get tetanus, the demon has hit you. If you get cancer, some other person. Cause effect, they're right. Today's professor of medicine will come in the ward, he'll see a fever patient, and the registrar will say, malaria negative, typhoid negative, but still he has fever, sir. The viral fever, very wise man saying viral fever, he has not seen the virus. That poor virus is blamed for everything. Suddenly in Japan, some years ago, Sujata, my phone has become alive. It was dead from morning, thanks to Bombay's connections. Now it's ringing, don't worry. Now I'm connected to the world. Now, there was Olympics in Japan. I don't remember how many years ago. Olympics in Tokyo. 2 years before the Olympics, a peculiar disease struck Japan. People became little paralyzed, they became blind, eventually died. So we didn't know what disease it was. So we called it as SMON, subacute myelooptico neuropathy, which is just to confuse you with Latin and Greek, that's all. It simply means you are blind, you are not able to use your leg, and you eventually die. Then government said, people will get frightened, they will not come to Tokyo for the Olympics, because Olympics is business. Remember that, Olympics is not sport. Now no sport is sport now, it is business. And big gambling. So they thought billions of dollars will be generated and that will be lost. And let me tell Sucheta that if you are suffering modern medical crimes, it is because of money. Up until money came on the scene, modern medicine was so nice. To be very precise, up until the end of the 19th century, even in America, medical treatment was so good, they had modern medicine so-called. They didn't call it as, they called it allopathy. What is allopathy? Everything is allopathy except homeopathy. Allo is against, pathy is disease. Homeopathy is homeopathy. It's for the body, again body only cures. Now, 1899, up until that time, there was so-called allopathy. Ayurveda was not there, but herbal medicine was there. Herbal medicine was a very big rage in America. Chiropractic came in about 1900. Homeopathy, then radioanesthesia, which was using electric current to treat patients, and shaman medicine, then pranic healing, Reiki, acupuncture, and what have you, Chinese medicine, Tibetan medicine, everything, and equally respected. Then, in 1899 to be precise, this D.P. Palmer, he was a medical doctor, he was an MD, thought, and rightly so, that most of the problems are due to the spinal nerves and the brain and the spinal cord. And he said, if you set all the muscles right, you will get treated. So he called it chiropractic. So it became a science also. But 1900, America discovered oil. Oil means money. So they thought we can exploit the world of oil, fooling the Arabs, and then make money and enjoy life. And their own money, we will probably buy that for $10 a barrel and send them mineral water for $100 a barrel and make money. So at this time, three players were there, three very eminent players. John Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie, and D.P. Morgan. These were in different business, competing with one another. Then they realized, with this new thing coming up, we can all join together, collaborate, help each other, and cheat the world. That's how big money is made, by collaborating and cheating the world. What did they do? There were 147 medical schools in America. They were teaching various things. 47 of them were teaching what is called allopathy. They were all funded by Carnegie Mellon Foundation and Rockefeller Foundation and D.P. Morgan's. Now, other 100 medical colleges teaching various things. Herbal medicine. There are a lot of herbal medical colleges. Acupuncture, Ayurveda, Chinese medicine. No, Ayurveda was not there. Chinese medicine, etc., etc. So they influenced the president of the country, gave him a lot of money, and told him, we will have a one-man commission to inspect the medical colleges and say which are scientific and which are non-scientific. What is the definition of science? There is no definition of science. Anyway, who did they appoint? A man called Benjamin Flexner. No, Andrew Flexner. What was he? He was the headmaster of a school in the Carnegie Mellon Foundation, retired. Now a headmaster of a school who doesn't know what medicine is, becomes a one-man commission to inspect medical colleges and decide. Like our MCA. Many of the people in the MCA don't know what medical education is, but they are there. Some good people leave it and come out. But others hang on and destroy medical education in this country. But anyway, now this fellow inspects 147 medical colleges in 6 months and writes a report saying that 47 medical colleges which are using the reductionist pharmaceutical chemistry are the only scientific ones, the other ones are unscientific. These 47 medical colleges ran on Andrew Carnegie Mellon Foundation. Did you understand that? So, with the stroke of the pen, the other medical colleges are closed and America became scientific medicine in America, and the other colleges were all called unscientific and they were not allowed to practice. And whatever happens in America, Britain copies them. And Britain also same order came, but the British royal family lived on homeopathy. So the king said no. And the queen also said no. And homeopathy is still alive in Britain, but now there is a concerted effort to kill homeopathy in Britain. If any one of you is in the habit of reading English dailies, there's a paper called Guardian. On Tuesday, normally you get a large full-page cover by a young doctor called Goldacre. Goldacre is a young doctor who is financed by the pharmaceutical companies very heavily, and is a good writer. He writes such convincing articles every day that homeopathy is dead and don't believe in it. In fact, modern scientific data in quantum physics shows homeopathy is much more scientific than modern medicine. So homeopathy believes in energy treatment, and there is a structure for water, and this water structure is very, very peculiar structure. Rustum Roy, a great name in science, discovered the structure of water with lot of loose bonds in it. Even if you put any drop of medicine into a glass of water or a jug of water, the structure changes. Okay, this is called the signature of the medicine in the water. Then you dilute it in a bucket or in a well, the signature remains the same. So that's one thing. The number two is, if it is in the pill form, all of them are in nanoparticles. So nobody can detect a chemical in that. When you can't detect a chemical, you call it as unscientific. But you must detect a chemical, you should know what a nanoparticle is. So homeopathy is not dead, it is still alive. So I just gave you an idea to know that most of your school to believe modern medicine that we practice is very scientific. If you define science as measurement and measurement as science, probably medicine has no science at all, because most of our diseases depend on our thoughts. I'll give you one small example. It is not what you eat that kills you, it is what eats you that kills you. Did you get that? Your negative thoughts. I want to destroy somebody. I hate somebody. I am frustrated because I didn't become the President of India, Abdul Kalam became. And what happens? These negative things go inside and destroy the functioning of your system inside. You know what your body is? Quantum physics now shows us. And I can take a photograph of that. We've got the camera called the photon camera. It's biophoton camera. You are, each one of you is a happy colony of 50 to 100 trillion happy individual human beings, whom we call as body cells. Did you get that? You are a beautiful colony, madam, of, you must be about 75 trillion. Happy, loving human beings. We lived as a single cell human beings for millions of years. Then for economic reasons we thought collectively we are better off. We came together and we became a human being. And when we became a human being, this 50 trillion cells, each one was doing the work of a human being. Each one was shitting, each one was squeezing, each one was breathing, each one was eating, each one was working. Then they thought, why all this? Few of us can collect and do certain things. Like in society, you know, the Varna system. One man will think and do something, he becomes a Brahmin. Another man will clean the place, he becomes a cleaner. And the third man will do only dalal and become collect money. Not Sucheta, because she is against money. But all other dalals are dalaling money. Now, and like this. Now, instead of that, so they formed together and called themselves, we call themselves organs. And today modern medicine thinks human body is a machine like the motor car, which runs by the organs. It's called organ-based medicine. And we have now not doctors, we have no doctors at all. Very few doctors left. We have specialists. What are the specialists? A specialist is one who knows more and more about less and less. And who is a super specialist? He knows more and more about, and comes to a stage where he knows more and more about nothing. Now you have a headache, okay? Now I don't say anybody has a headache. I tell him you are a headache. Now by the time you go to a specialist, because people think headache means I must go to a head specialist. Do you know where you should go? You must go to a family doctor who knows you so well, that the minute you go there and say, I have a headache, he says, hey, why did you fight with your wife last night? You shouldn't do that. You are always like this. You know, you are an irritable character. Why don't you make peace with that? You know, you go home and call your wife and say, honey, I love you. Because even if you love your wife, you periodically have to remind her. Otherwise she'll forget and you might forget. So you say that and your headache is gone. Did you know that? Or supposing you hate somebody, you get a headache. Just sit back and do a quiet Anuloma Viloma Pranayama. Take a deep breath in, breathe out for a long time, and after about 5 breaths, you forget why you were angry in the first place. And you're so happy because the 5th breath when you breathe out, breathing out for a long time, you start smiling. You know, you just forget this word.